Hey there, Heather. Ho, there's Jeff Cutter Down. Welcome you to another Stone Cold Hockey video for the 81-82 season. We are doing the New York Islanders and trying to get them to three-peat in storyline. We all know the Islanders won 4 straight titles, but I want to see if the 81-82 team can lead them to lofty heights. And right now we're on top of the NHL with 50 points, 22 wins, 8 losses, 6 ties. We played almost half the season. In the Patrick division, it is actually tighter than most divisions. We have 50 points. The Rangers have 44. Pitt 38. Washington and Philly are dueling it out. Montreal, Quebec, Boston, Buffalo look set to be the 4 teams in the Adams to go to the division. Hartford with 26 points. In the Smythe, Edmonton, Vancouver, LA, Calgary looks like that's the order with Colorado missing out. With Minnesota, Chicago, Winnipeg, and Toronto in the North, St. Louis and Detroit are fighting it out. Just a reminder that the 81-82 playoff format is 16 teams, just like years gone past, well, from 1980 and 1981, but this time it's the top 4 per division. Divisions and conferences do matter, unlike the other 2 years when it's just 1 to 16 by points. So, yeah, top team in the division takes on 4th place in the division play, second versus third. The 2 division winners meet. Norris faces Smythe, Adams versus Patrick for the conference titles. And anyway, Mike Bossy leads the goal scoring parade with 37. Brian Trottier has 28. John Tonelli has 24. So I have 3 20-goal scorers on my team. Nice. Points wise, Gretzky's still number 1. Bossy's number 2. That's pretty good. And he only has 2 penalty minutes. Interesting. Goaltending, Billy Smith's got the 3rd best GAA behind Danny Heron, who's 12-1, who's masterly 12-1, and Gilles Meloche 12-5-2. Yeah, this was an offensive showdown season. We have 36 games played, lots of 36 and 37s. There's some with 39. Nobody has less than 36. Points percentage wise, Philly would technically be ahead of Washington. Uh, Boston would be ahead of Quebec because they played 3 fewer games. And that's all. We have scored 173 goals, the most in the division. We've given up 118, the fewest in our division. Well, goal scoring, we're second in the conference behind Quebec. Surprisingly, Montreal has only 142 goals, but their goals against is basically what's carrying them in a sense. We're 11-3-3 at home. I believe that's the best home record. Actually, no. Edmonton's got the best home record. I think one of their losses was to Colorado, wasn't it? Oh, no, it was in Colorado. Excuse me. Edmonton sucks on the road. We have 11 road wins. We're tied with Montreal. Highlights wise, everyone's got lots of wins. There's been some blowouts. There's been a lot of hat tricks. There's been 65 such things as a hat trick. 4-goal game by Bobby Smith, and 8 games with a 30-plus fan duel advantage. Philly 6-5 October 11th, down 5-1 Pittsburgh, but Philly scores 5 straight. Philly wins 9-5 on December the 6th. They were down 3-0, and then they scored 9 of the next 11 goals. Colorado's 8-5 win at home against Edmonton when Edmonton was up 5-4. St. Louis 6-5 over the Islanders, a game I didn't do. St. Louis scored 4 straight goals. Rangers 7-6 against Boston on Halloween night, which was a spooky one. Calgary beating us 5-4. That was terrible. That so there, Tonelli, Bossy, Trottier. I was like, well, Mielenson's gonna have a good game. Pat Regan out for Reggie Lemon, and then all of a sudden they scored 5 goals on us, including one with 9 seconds left, pissing me off. Washington 7-4 over Colorado on Halloween night. Colorado was up 4-1 and they choked it. And LA Pittsburgh December 16th when LA was up 3-0. All right, our schedule. We're getting close to the end of December. We're in New York to take on our rivals. Billy the Hatchet Man against Steve Weeks, who was the main goalie for the Rangers, who also had Eddie Neal, John Davidson, a young John Van Beesbrook, and Steve Baker with the apple on his goalie mask. Play 2, we had Rolly Mielenson being a decent backup. Anyway, our main guys, Mike Bossy, who would be one of the greatest goal scorers ever, if it wasn't for his stand back. Brian Trottier doing well with scoring points and getting First Nations representation. Clark Gillies, great player from 1974. John Tonelli, You know, he was a pretty good left winger with Bob Nystrom giving him the goal in 1980. Bobby Bourne, Danny Potvin, who the others coveted so much as the number one pick in the 1973 draft, they refused Montreal's offer of 5 NHL-ready players to the soon-to-be second-year team. Brent Sutter and Dwayne Sutter, part of the Sutter brothers with Rich, Ron, Brian, and Daryl. Well, they had an older brother named Ron, who was a decent player. No, named Gary, who was a decent player himself, but he stayed home on the farm because, you know, all the boys had to go to hockey. Butch Goring, well, for the New York Islanders, part of the first great trade deadline move ever in 1980. 2 years later, well, 2 years, well, from the LA, Andres Calor, Wayne Merrick, Mike McEwen, who was a high scoring defenseman, but Don Cherry almost ruined him in Colorado, Thomas Janssen, Billy Carroll, Stephen Person, Hector Marini, Dave Langevin, former WHA, Ken Morrow, former member of the American on Ice hockey team in 1980, Greg Gilbert, and Gordon Lane. The Rangers with Ron Duguay, the right winger with a flowing lock of hair, Mike Rogers, who had 100 points 1 year with them, Mark Pavlich, part of the American Ice team, I think, Eddie Johnstone, Don Maloney, Kitchener, Rachel Russell-Linen, who once had 4 goals against us, but in a tie, Dave Silk, part of the American Ice team, Pat Hickey, decent left winger, Dave Maloney, Mikko Leinonen, who had 6 assists in the 1982 playoffs. In real life, Barry Beck, Shoot the Puck, Barry, Steve Vickers, Nick Fatiou, Mike Allison, Dean Televis, Ron Greschner, who would go on to play over 1,000 games as a Ranger, Rob McClellan, and another member of the American Ice team, Carol Fadney, Andre Dory, Tom Laylaw, Yuri Gillis, Ed Hospizar, Tom Younghans, and Peter Wallin. 5 minutes later. 1 minute later. Shot? No, Pavlich had a chance. 5 minutes later. Rangers defensive PK reduced, but thankfully for us, no penalty. Possession. They get a ball and go back to the box for 2. Jet ski or power play goal. It's not Maverick, it's Merrick. His 7th from McEwen and Janssen makes it 1-0. And after 20 minutes, we're up 1-0. 3 minutes later. Skiers. Number 5, Strike Alive. Scores alive. His 8th. I just lost the plot. 4 minutes later, Skier. Hot to Trot. His 29 from Marini and John Tonelli. Marini, a very underrated name. 5 minutes later. They try to score, but they can't. Give them a chance. Oh, still cut it. 3 minutes later. There's a fight. Dwayne Sutter and Barry Beck. Well, he can't shoot the puck, Barry, because he's in the penalty box. Dwayne Sutter. Well, we don't need to worry. We score! It's the Sutter brother. 1 in the box, 1 on the ice. And scores his 6th from Janssen. 4-0. 4-0. The Rangers are like, fuck this. We're gonna give John Van Beesbrook a game. Mike Bossy? I tried to score. Much later. We score! Holiday Road. It's not Clark Griswold, it's Clark Gillies. His 13 from Trottier and Langevin, 5-0. Hopefully we can hang on this time. Never seen the Calgary. Oops. Mike Rogers gets whacked by Nystrom. Great. There goes the shutout. Oh, we killed the zone. Nice. Let's kill the puck, boys. Kill the puck, boys. Johnstone scores. Damn it. Billy almost got the hat. They should have. He's right in the Rangers' face. That's alright. We win the game 5-1 anyway, so. Yeah, Mike Bossy wasn't even the main man. Bossy got no points. They held Bossy in check, but they forgot to check our other guys out. Haha, Tracks with 2 points. 5-1. Ringing in the New Year, Minnesota beats Buffalo, Toronto beats Detroit, and Vancouver somehow beats Edmonton. New Year's Day, no game. Saturday, whole list, we get the Blackhawks on home turf. Colorado even wins a game over Detroit. I think the only other team in the NHL with single-digit wins. So Colorado was happy. Montreal ties the Rangers on Hockey Night Canada. Toronto beats Minnesota on Hockey Night Canada. So we play the Blackhawks. And Tony Esposito, almost nonchalant and not missing a step. as we play them. Billy Smith back in the net for the Cupcakes. Why am I naming my own team the Cupcakes? Well, anyway, Murray Vanderman and Warren Skordansky trying to take starts away from Tony Esposito, who was aging at this point. He had been in the league since 1969, so he may have lost a step. Chicago's players: Al Secord, who once had 40 goals. Where did that name go? Yeah, former Bruin. I coached him for Boston in my thing. Doug Wilson, who was a pretty good defenseman, one of the best Blackhawks defensemen of all time. Denny Savard, who the Blackhawks had fall in their laps because Montreal decided to go with Doug Wickenheiser as the number one pick, and Winnipeg went with Dave Babbage. So the Blackhawks got Denny Savard in their lap. Tom Lysiak, former Flame. Grant Mulvey. Daryl Sutter, part of the Sutter brothers. He'll have to face his two brothers, Brent and Dwayne. Brian, I think, plays for the Blues. Rich and Ron would be for the Flyers. I think they were prospects. And yeah, Daryl. Rich, Ron, and Brian. Okay, talk about that. So 3 Sutters are facing each other. Tim Higgins, Rich Preston, Doug Crossman, Ted Boley, Reg Kerr. I bet he's a guy from the 1930s. Probably was. Peter Marsh. Not Stan Marsh. I had him with Edmonton, I think, right? I don't remember. But Glenn Sharpley, Bob Murray, Badger Bob Murray, Bill Gardner, Terry Roskowski from the WHA, Dave Hutchinson, former Leaf, Keith Brown, Rick Patterson, Greg Fox, Steve Ludzik, who would become an analyst for The Score before it turned into Sportsnet 360, Miles Zaharko, Florent Robideau, Jerome Dupont, and Dave Feimster. It'd be weird to see him. So we'll see what we do against Tornado. And we get a hit delivered to us. What? Uh-oh. Fitzgibbon. All around the mulberry bush, the monkey chased the weasel. Blackhawks are scored. They'll go pop. It's 1-0. I just had to do that. Crossman with the assist. I know that Mulvey doesn't play for my team. Trotz tried to enter back, but no. Much later. Session. And we hit the Chicago attack, and we get penalized ourselves. Gordon Lane in the box. But they score. Dougie Wilson, his 18th from Savard, makes it 2s. A little bit later, they score. Doug Wilson second from Secord. It's 3-0. What the hell? Yikes. We're down 3-0. Turner leading Canelli is 25th from McEwen. 1 minute later. Double hit. Much later. Canelli again from Trotz and Morrow makes it 3-2. 5 minutes later. How about that? And Bossy and Sutter. So how about that? Not only did Tonelli hit a hat trick, it's a natural hat trick. He scored the 3 goals without interruption. They have a chance, Bossy! Damn it. So it's 3-3. We almost were ready to put Mr. Bielenson in the net. 4 minutes later. Session? They got it too aggressive. Marsh for 2. And he scores! Born to be wild. Bob Bourne, his 12th from Bossy and Carroll. Born to be wild. 1 minute later. Action. They score. Damn, they tie it. Timmy Higgins from Roskowski and Denny makes it 4-4. We try to score quickly. We fail. 3 minutes later. Chance for Chicago, but no. They're the Blue Dice. Much better. After that point, Roskowski. Do we have a chance? That's good. Canelli's 4th in the night from Morrow and Bourne. Makes it 5-4. Now it's on fire. Empty net. Oh, no. Merrick. Damn it. Chicago can't do anything. Daryl can't ruin his two brothers' chances, and the Islanders survive a 3-0 deficit to win 5-4. Thanks a lot to John Tonelli's natural hat trick, and he scored the winning goal. So Tonelli puts up 4 goals. Bossy with 2 assists. Bossy's just not scoring. I think they're just attacking Bossy so much they forgot there's another guy, and his name is John freaking Tonelli. So we win 5-4. That's the second game of our 3 because we do 3 games per thing. And we host Vancouver. We host Vancouver next. So Vancouver, I think that's the third time we've faced Vancouver on TV. Well, on a video. Billy the Hatchet Man against Glenn Hanlon. So the Vancouver Canucks go with Hanlon instead of King Richard Brodeur, who single-handedly was the reason why the Canucks went to the 18 Stanley Cup Finals and not Edmonton. Rick Hines, the third goalie. Well, Vancouver didn't have to face Edmonton because LA shocked Vancouver into fine powder. So yeah, we got 38 games. Thomas Gradin, great center. Stan Spiel, a lifer and his number 12 retired. Ivan Bodriev from Yugoslavia. Kurt Fraser, the first head coach in Atlanta for last year's history. Ivan Hlinka, his name is part of the great under 18 championship. Darcy Rota. Oh my God. He wrote up Blair McDonald coming from the Edmonton Oilers and the WHA. Tiger Williams, who's an enforcer who was shipped out of town. Lars Moline, Gary Lupo, Ron DeLorme. Keep thinking he's from Kitchener, but I don't think that's the guy from Kitchener. That's Cedar Power. Kevin McCarthy, Per Brazar, Lars Lindgren, Doug Hallworth, who was a bust in Boston and went to Vancouver and did okay. Mark Crawford, yes, that Mark Crawford. Harold Snaps, who had that famous mistake who gave out the Stanley Cup Finals, costing him dearly. Rick Lawrence, Neil Bell, Jerry Butler, Andres Elderbrink, Mo LeMay, and Colin Campbell. Yes, that Colin Campbell. 5 minutes later. Let's go! Sutter from Harrison and Nystrom. 2 minutes later. Let's go again. Hockey Tots. That's a 30 from Merrick. Hot to Trot does it again. Much later. So, penalty on Vancouver, it's McCarthy. Let's go! Tough out power play goal. There's Mike Bossy on the field. There's a time for goals and a time to love. That puck just got shot over the glove. It's 38. And Danny Corliss and Kutche and Carroll make it 4-0. And we're hot. When we're not, we're not. Aggression? I feel like it's apparently Campbell for 2. Can we make it 5? It is! And victory! And Boston's second and lane from Sutter and Portland. So Boston makes it 5-0, and he's got the goal game pace. Well, Bossy proving that, you can only destroy a player's goal scoring thing for so long before he bites you in the ass. And we take a penalty, Gordon Lane. And yay, we killed the zone. 5-0. Vancouver scores. Kurt Fraser from Wangren and Tiger makes it 5-1. 3 minutes later. They score again. Tiger from McCarthy, and he's riding the sticks. 5-2. Uh-oh. We're good. Only scores the second from Canelli. 6-2. I was having great Calgary flashbacks. And Butch Gillian from Top End America makes it 7-2. We score. Don't. We're stupid. And Rhoda gets stopped 7-2 after 40 minutes. Can we get to double digits? I don't think we'll have to taking a penalty like that. Kill the zone. Yeah, we're just killing the clock. Oh, Clark scores from Born in London and makes it 8-2. Putting a snowman on there. To build a snowman. Do we have a chance for 9? Merrick thought he was going to score, make it 9. But nope, we scored 8. That's okay. We were up 5-0 and basically coasted to the end. Glenn Hanlon, we chased him after 18 minutes. Hines wasn't that bad, giving up only 3 goals in 42 minutes. Could have been worse long ago. I know it's true. And then we are playing in. No. Colorado loses. Colorado 14. Winnipeg scored 11 on Hartford, and Edmonton scored 14 on Colorado. This is the same team that beat Edmonton on home ice. Phil Meyer, poor guy, gave up 14 goals. McMillan made it 10-1. Edmonton goes Coffee, Kitchener. Stan Weir, Hughes, Messier, Coffee, Kitchener. Curry, Coffee, Kitchener. Dave Lumley, Fuglin, Coffee again, Kitchener. Kitchener. Anderson, Hughes, Anderson, Messier. So 14-1. Oh boy. And our next game is in Philly. We do 3 games per video, of course. And we've got 56 points. We're 4 points ahead of Edmonton and Montreal. Minnesota is also in the 50-point club, but we're doing quite well. 56 points. Rangers 49, Pittsburgh 38. Philly and Washington are battling tooth and nail for 4th. Philly has the lead because of fewer games. Montreal 52. Boston and Quebec are fighting for second place. Buffalo has 42. Hartford's 12 back. Edmonton, Vancouver looking pretty good. LA and Calgary fighting for 3rd place. Colorado dead last. Dead last. Detroit's got 10 wins at least. Minnesota, Chicago, Winnipeg, Toronto is looking pretty good. Bossy's got 39 goals. Gretzky's got 40. So, that Trotz has 30 goals. So 7 goal scorers right now. Gretzky, Bossy, Studden, Lukowicz, Secord, Dion, and Trotz. Billy Smith, third in goals against. Heron and Malashto ahead of him. I wonder how bad it is for Chico Rash. Well, Chico Rash has a 4.91. Al Jansen, second last. What about Phil Meyer? Hasn't he played in so many games? Phil Myers played in 9, and he's 0-7-2. Steve Janisak. Dude, you need to put him in the net. He actually won a game. But yeah, Phil Myers only played 9 games. Well, whatever. It just is what it is, and that's all that is. Anyway, I'm Jeff Diamond. Adieu.